Man, look, stop what you're doing. Don't even scroll past this, man. We about to set this slave narrative on fire, bro. Because I'm telling you, it ain't what you think it is. It's time to reclaim the timeline, reclaim the land, and most important, reclaim your mind. If you haven't grabbed your copies, go ahead and grab your copies right now today. And Eclipses in America Part 1 and Reclaiming Our Consciousness is out right now. The link is in the bio. Check out your boy eBooks. I'm dropping hella gems in there. You feel me? Let's go ahead and get into some shit. All right, man. Let's go ahead and just break this down, run it down for the people, man. How did American Indian identity was undermined in the civil rights movement hijacked? First, we got to start with the Walter Plecker reclassification of 1920s and 1947s. Pay attention to the timeline, right? But for those who don't know what Walter Plecker is or who he is, he was Virginia's first register of vital statistics. Walter Plecker enforced the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, reclassifying all people as either white or colored, intentionally erasing American Indian identity, especially for those of mixed heritage. Especially those of mixed heritage. Science for the conscious mind. Pick up what I'm putting down. Especially those of mixed heritage. The effects that it had on the American Indians who was mixed with Sephardic or Moorish ancestry. Many from long-standing tribal communities, particularly with Sephardic, Jewish, or Moorish ancestry, were reclassified as colored as well, severing their documented identity. This made it difficult to claim tribal lands or maintain sovereign recognition. Now, just open our third eye and just dive a little bit deeper. Because after the Walter Plecker reclassification of 1920s and 1947, 3 years later was a termination policy. Let's find out what the termination policy of 1950s. The termination policy of 1950s, what was that? That was a federal policy designed to terminate the legal statuses of tribes, ending their sovereign relationship with the U.S. government. The impact that it had was it terminated over 100 black Indian tribes, and they lost federal recognition, and their land was sold and the tribal governments dismantled. Now, critical thinking moment. This is 1950s. In the 1950s, the Native Americans were already on reservations. In fact, they've been on reservations since the 1800s. So who are these American Indians who had their identity stripped and went through paper genocide? Let's dive a little bit deeper. Listen real close, because after the termination policy, right, after they reclassified the American Indians to Negro and colored, right, Walter Plecker, right, 3 years later, the termination policy, you terminate those very American Indians you just reclassified, which detribalized them and sever their documented identity, right? Now you relocate those very Indians with the Indian Relocation Act of 1956. For those who don't know, what is that? The Indian Relocation Act of 1956 was a federal program encouraging, often coercing, American Indians to move to cities. The outcomes was broken promises of jobs and housing, fragmented communities, and cultural loss. How does this connect with the civil rights? Well, urban American Indians found common grounds with other marginalized groups. Stop. They said urban American Indians. I'm from an urban area, south side Atlanta, Georgia, zone trade, you feel me? I ain't never seen no Native American grow up with me. And you from urban areas too. And you ain't never seen them either. So who are these American Indians who was forcefully relocated, forcefully terminated, and forcefully reclassified? Yes, understand what urbanizing of American Indians is, and we're going to wrap it up. So by the 1960s, pay attention to the timeline, right? 1920s, 1947, 3 years later, 1950s, 6 years later, 1956, 4 years later, 1960s, around civil rights movement. Most American Indians lived in cities. By the 1960s, most American Indians lived in cities, not reservations. So who is these people on the reservations then? And who is these urban Indians? Hey, like the live, share the live, follow the page for more gems like this. And we're going to keep digging into these false slave narratives because we setting it on fire. And if you like this type of information, go ahead and hit that link in the bio. Go ahead and grab you a copy of the book, or grab 2 copies, right? Reclaiming the Consciousness or An Eclipses in America, right? Because it's very, very deep gems in there. And shout out to all my supporters. I really do appreciate the love, you feel me? With that being said, y'all just keep thinking critically out there.